सुपर टीन्स चैनल में आपका स्वागत है और यहाँ पे आप सीखेंगे फाइनेंस, कम्युनिकेशन, बिजनेस और एआई एंड लॉट्स ऑफ माइंडसेट आल्सो। टीन्स कैसे अपने लाइफ को कंट्रोल में लेके आ सकते हैं एंड अवे फ्रॉम डूम स्क्रोलिंग, अवे फ्रॉम games and gossip and all that, and focus on growing and learning and developing high income skills for their future. So let's enjoy this video. So what we learned: employed, self-employed, business, and now the last part is called investor. What do you mean by investor? When you invest in stock markets, when you invest in gold, when you invest in mutual funds, when you invest in property, when you invest in other things, where you are just an investor. Let's say you can invest in the business also. Like Shark Tank, you look at the sharks, they just invest in the business. They don't do the work, right? They invest. Like, let's say you have a great business idea, all of you, which you will have at the end of this two-day workshop, but you need money for that, and you don't have. So you go to your friend, and he has money. He said, you know what, I have a great business idea, but I don't have money. And he says that, oh, I have the money, but I don't have great business idea. So I'll invest in your business. So if you do business together, you are the working partner, he's the investing partner. And if you do business well, if you make money, both of you will make money. So you are doing business or you are doing self-employment and he is the investor. Like we invest in stock market. So we don't do any work, we just invest. Let's say we invest in Apple stock and the Apple stock goes up. Did we do any work? No, we just invested our money in Apple. We thought that the Apple stock will go up, and based on our analysis, and that can be a different topic. But investment, the market works for you and the money works for you, right? You put your money in bank and you get interest on that. That is also investment. You put your money in mutual funds and that grows and makes you money. That's an investment. You bought a property like a land and then the price goes up. That's an investment. You bought gold and the gold price went up. That's an investment. So you see that what is the difference between the four quadrants: employed, self-employed, business, investment. Now, you want to know one important fact about this thing, that in the world, 95% of the people are in employed and self-employed category. And 5% are in the category of business and investment. Right? So very few people do business and very few people do investments. Most of the people work for employment or self-employment. Right? Now, there's an important fact about one more important fact, and that would surprise you, shock you. In that, दुनिया में जितना भी पैसा है, the amount of money which is there in the world is divided in this manner. This 95% people have only 5% of the money. And this 5% people have 95% of the money. So now you decide where you want to be. You want to be in the employed, self-employed, or you want to be in the business investor? You want to be in the ES or you want to be in the BI? Everyone. You want to be ES or you want to be in BI? Great. Everyone wants to be a BI, right? So, it's possible, but also at times, you can go through E, then S, and then move to B and I. You get it what I'm saying? Like, let's say I need to learn something. I don't know how to do business. Let's say I want to open a McDonald's type business. What should I do? The best way to learn how to do a McDonald's type business, what is that? I'll go to McDonald's and ask for a job that I want to work here. And while working, so you are into employment, right? You got employed as a McDonald's guy. And then you see, while you're doing the job, you're learning. अरे इन लोग बर्गर कैसे बनाते हैं, इन लोग का टाइम कितना लगता है, इन लोग का रेसिपी क्या है, इन लोग कैसे ऑपरेट करते हैं, कितना चार्ज करते हैं, कितना प्राइस लगता है, कैसे स्टोर करते हैं. So you learn while you are employed, right? So your first step can be employed. It's not necessary you have to go through that route always, but I'm just giving you ideas. And then next time, after you learned everything, you don't straight away go and open 10 branches of your McDonald's, right? What you do is you open one where you are self-employed. So now you moved from employed to self-employed, where I work myself. I will see that I make the burgers, or I see personally work in the hotel, in the franchise, and then once I know that okay, this is working great for 1 or 2 years, now I decide that okay, I can open one more branch, 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 and then I become a businessman. Does that make sense? It's not always you start with the business. You might have to go from E to S to B to I, or let's say you can even start from S, right? Because nowadays you can learn everything about that business on ChatGPT, on Google and YouTube and everything, that you can learn everything. Once you learn and say, let me start my own small franchise, rather than working for McDonald's in 2 years, I can learn from other people also. So I straight away go into S, and then go to B, and then I. Does that make sense? Yes? So what we have to go to the B and I, but not necessarily immediately, because we need to have some experience, we need to have some knowledge, we need to have some skills. And for that, we might have to go into E or S or both. So are you willing to take that path? Many businesses fail. You know why? You see this startup thing, like so many startups are there. 95% of the startups fail because they don't have the right skills. They get excited with the idea, and I'll do this business. I know this. And they start, and they work hard. They put so much money. They borrow so much money, and they miserably fail because they didn't build the skills before starting the business. You get it? So I have this quote for you. You guys ready? Ready for the quote? First, you become a skillionaire, then you become a millionaire. Write down. First, you become a skillionaire, and then you become a millionaire. Got it? So, what do you mean by skillionaire? It's basically you have lots of skills. Like what I am doing right now as a super teen coach, what we are trying to give you all the skills. What are the main skills right now we need in this world? If you want to succeed, you need to think like an entrepreneur, business skills. You need to know how to manage money. So we are going to have a finance boot camp. You need to know how to use technology, which is we are going to have an AI workshop. You need to be a good speaker. You need to communicate well. If you have a great idea, but if you can't communicate to people, how will you get the money? How will you convince other people to work for you? Right? So you need to have great communication skills. So that's a skill which I'm going to teach you in the next workshop. So communication. Then you need to have the right mindset. The success mindset, never die attitude, whatever it takes attitude, which doesn't come naturally, it has to be built. So we're going to have a workshop on mindset. Do you understand? Then we need to have strong habits. That's why we're going to have a workshop on 7 habits of highly effective people. So if you do these 6 workshops, right, 6 workshops, which is part of the Super Teens certification, then you are become a skillionaire. And there are chances after this becoming a skillionaire, then you can become a millionaire. Of course, you learn a lot of skills at school and college also. So all the skills to put together makes you a millionaire. So don't hurry up to make money. Instant gratification. You should be in a hurry to learn the skills. If you are at 14, 15, 16, in this world, there are so many people using simple AI tools and making thousands or maybe lakhs of rupees every month without even passing the school or without passing the college also. Right? With the AI things, so many things have opened up that you can't even imagine. I am learning AI right now. I'm using so much of AI in my business. Right? So if you're not learning AI, if you're not learning social media, if you're not learning YouTube, if you're not learning Instagram, not to consume, not to doom scroll, but to use it to your advantage. Right? Social media is the biggest source of leads for me. I do business from social media. Right? So that's what's the main thing? You need to become a skillionaire before you become the Millionaire, right? Thank you so much for watching, and I hope you learned a lot from this video. And also join our Super Teens WhatsApp community, where we are going to give you continuous updates on how you can keep up with the ever-changing world, especially in the world of AI, and your teenager will remain ahead in that.